Okay, class, so we're still in 1.5 quadratic equations. Where I left off with the last video was solving using the quadratic formula. So last time I did completing the square root method, and solving by factoring. This time we're solving using the quadratic formula. If you recall, the quadratic formula is x is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And then we remember that our standard setup for this is ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0, where a is whatever number is in this particular area, such as if we have a formula that says x squared minus 2x plus 2 equals 0, we know that our a is 1, our b is minus 2, and our c is 2. Because we know a is 1, because this is understood to be a 1 right in front of that x right there. Okay, so knowing that and having this equation right here, let's plug these numbers into this right here. If we do that, then what we have is our b, negative b, is negative 2. So we have a negative 2 plus or minus the square root of negative 2 squared plus or minus square root of negative 2 squared minus 4. Our a is 1 and our c is 2. 1 and 2 all over 2a. 2 and our a is 1. 1. Now that we have that, let's go through and simplify. We know a negative times a negative is a positive, so this is a 2 right here, plus or minus the square root of this right here. So a negative 2 and a negative 2, that's a 4, minus 4 times 1 times 2, that's 8. It's 8 right here, all over 2, equals 2 plus or minus 4 minus 8, that's a negative 4, square root of a negative 4 all over 2. You remember what we said about imaginary numbers? So this is 2 plus or minus square root of negative 1 square root of 4 all over 2. Okay, I'm running out of real estate here, so if I get low, I'm going to come over here. Really, I can erase this stuff right here because we're done plugging these numbers into there. But I'm just going to write this formula up a bit higher so that we can have something to reference once we finish with the problem. Remember, this formula is, as a matter of fact, let me just write it right here. X squared minus 2x plus 2 equals 0. That is the formula that we're basing this problem off of. So now we have 2 plus or minus square root of negative 1 square root of 4 over 2. We can rewrite this as, I'm going to come over here and rewrite it to give us more space. We write this as 2 plus or minus 2i over 2. Now, let's break it up. 2 over 2 plus or minus 2i over 2. Well, we know that 2 over 2 is 1. Plus or minus, these cancel out, I. So, our final answer is 1 plus or minus I, or we can write it as 1 plus I, comma, 1 minus I. All right. So, now let's do another one. I'm going to keep my formula up there. I'm going to write it over here a bit so that we can use more of the whiteboard. So the formula is x, well first let me write the problem. X squared plus 8x plus 15 plus 8x plus 15. The formula is x is equal to negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. What is our a here? Our a is 1, our b is 8, and our c here is 15. So now we have that. Negative b is minus 8 plus or minus square root of b squared. That's 8 squared minus 4. Our a is 1 and our c we said is 15. All over 2a. 2 times 1. So let's write it out some more. 8 plus or minus square root 8 squared is 64 minus 4 times 1 times 15. What is 4 times 15? That is 15 and 4. That's 20. That's 60. So that's 60 all over 2. Equals minus 8. Still simplifying what's under the hood here. 64 minus 4. 4 over 2. Okay, I'm bringing this up right here. Give me some more space here. So now I have a minus 8 plus a minus square root of 4. 4 is a perfect square. 2 all over 2. All right. So now we can break this up, right? So we can say a minus 8 over 2 plus a minus 2 over 2. We can simplify that to be minus 8 and 2, that's a 4, right? Negative 4 plus or minus 1. So we can have, that answer is negative 4 plus 1 and negative 4 minus 1. Negative 4 plus 1, that's a minus 3. Negative 4 minus 1, that's a minus 5. So that's our final answer right there. So really, when solving using the quadratic formula, all we're doing is we're substituting, well, we're understanding what's our a, b, and c. Once we have our a, b, and c, we just plug in those right into this equation right here and solving accordingly. Okay, well that concludes section 1.5.